Welcome back, Silver and Blue Nation. This is Jeff Freeman with Mic'd Up with Jeff. And I took a long time to get back to you, but I got to do this quick hit right before the Dallas Cowboy game with the Carolina Panthers. Man, I've been running and ripping this week, going to these high school football games. I went to see Duncanville and DeSoto, which is a big rivalry down here in Texas. That was a good game. And also I'm running with my son, his little league game. But I said, man, I got to get on to give y'all this quick hit. Last week, the Cowboys, they played New York Jets, and this was one of their better defensive outings. I've been a big critic of Matt Eberflus and his scheme, and I call a spade a spade. I'm not gonna just sugarcoat it. The secondary were underperforming and with the injuries. But this past week with the Jets, it looks like the players are starting to understand that scheme, that zone scheme with Matt Eberflus. They didn't really give up a lot of explosive plays, and which is great. Brees Holmes did had somewhat of he was having a good day until that fumble. But he definitely gashed the Cowboys defense in the run games. She did the pass pretty well. So the defense is definitely coming along in this scheme. And today's quick hit, I wanted to look at this one play in particular on the defensive line with this Matt Eberflus stunt that he had against the Jets. Man, this thing was some nasty work. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, and so we can look at this defensive play. And it involves one of my favorite players on the Cowboys, that's James Houston. And I'm pretty sure a lot of Cowboys fans, he's one of your favorites as well. I think, in my opinion, I think James Houston should be starting. He's been balling out. He leads the team in sacks. I think he has like 4.5 sacks this year. And he's just doing everything the right way, man. He's playing the run. He's rushing the passer, and he got a lot of tools in his toolbox, man. So let's look at this play right here. Okay, you got Donovan Ezaraku on the right-hand side over here. You got James Houston. You got James Houston lined up right here. Okay, he's right here on the right. You got that. This is a nasty lineup because you got both defensive ends or edges on the right side, and you got both defensive tackles on the left side. So you got James Houston here, you got Solomon Thomas right here, and then you got Osa on the left end. So when this play, man, I'm telling you, this play is just something else, man. But what you're going to have Solomon Thomas. He's going to come across the guard's face, and he's going to crash here in the A gap. And then you got Osa that's going to slant right here into the B gap. And what's going to happen, you got James Houston that's going to do somewhat of a deep twist stunt. He's going to come behind both tackles and loop around and make this play on Justin Fields. What I find is the beauty of this play is that Justin Houston didn't even check off on, it was just unexpected. This back right here, he's going to leak out. He's going to get somewhat of a chip on Osa, and then he's going to run his route. He's going to run his route. But he never sees James Houston on the twist stunt, and it just makes this sack look like poetry in motion, man. So let's take a look at it right quick. He motions out, 32 motions out. Now look at this. Man, that is poetry in motion, my friends. Poetry in motion. Let's look at it again. He steps up. The back doesn't even account for James Houston. And look how James Houston, he just cuts tight right off the back of Osa and makes this sack. That is poetry in motion, Silver and Blue Nation, man. That's something to be excited about. That is something to be excited about, Silver and Blue Nation. That one play with James Houston and the Cowboys defensive line. And so I've been a big critic. I hadn't been a fan of the rotations that Matt Eberflus have been implementing, because it just seemed like nobody really was getting any consistency. But overall, the Cowboys had a great game last week. The defensive line did well against the pass. Dak Prescott balled out. Ryan Flournoy, I mean, he put on a clinic last week. And, you know, given that the Cowboys had a lot of injuries, man, it was only one starter on the offensive line. You had a couple of players went out. Man, it's just going to be, just something to look forward to, as far as the defense. They're getting better every week. That play shows me that Matt Eberflus is being more creative in the line stunts, but he's still sticking to his philosophy, his zone. He runs a lot of zone. He don't do a lot of blitzes. I don't think he blitzed too many times this past week. And I think Matt Eberflus is understanding his personnel, and the defensive players are understanding this scheme a little bit better. The secondary, they played well, and the score didn't really indicate how dominant the Cowboys were in that game. It's just something to look forward to coming into this Carolina team. Now, this Carolina team is another one of those trap games, in my opinion, because you had Rico Dowdle. He talked a little trash this week, talked about that the Cowboys better get ready. And he had an outstanding performance last week against Miami. He had over 200 yards rushing. But I think the Cowboys should handle the Carolina Panthers this week. And with the defensive line, I think they're going to be motivated. The secondary, the whole team, they're going to be motivated to win this game, coming off a win against the Jets. Just let me know what you think about how the Cowboys are trending. You think this team is trending in the right direction? Are you excited about the depth? It's showing that this Cowboy team has depth with the offensive line and on the defensive line. And do you think that the Cowboys need to make one more trade right before the trade deadline? I think the trade deadline is around November 4th. Do you think the Cowboys need to make another trade or acquire another player to help this defense? You got the Washington Commanders coming up, and that's going to be a big game. And with the Giants beating the Eagles, the Cowboys are trying to get in position to lead the NFC East. And that could possibly happen if they beat the Commanders next week. So y'all be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And let me know your thoughts. And till the next time, I am out of here.